we are introducing Charli McBride. She is a shamanic and Kundalini master mentor, a psychic medium, an ordained minister, and a demonologist. While earning her doctorate, she accumulated well over 40 certifications, which include comparative religious studies of Native American, Aztec, Celtic, Hindu, Yogic, Buddhist, Taoist, Hermeticism, and religious sects. She is a published author of the best-selling book, Life with Spirit, a guide for the newly awakened. So welcome, Charli McBride.
So thank you so much for joining us today, Charli. It's an honor to have you on here, especially on the Shamanites podcast. I wanted to kind of dive right in. I wanted to talk to you today about what is a shaman?
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so much for coming, Charli. So I'm really excited to discuss shamanism because it's something that I think some people don't really know much about. My personal journey with shamanism actually started with you, and it changed my life in so many positive ways. So I wanted to kind of dive in and ask you, so can you please tell us exactly what is a shaman?
For me, a shaman is an energy healer. I think if you go across all religious sects and belief systems that absolutely encompass shamanism, they are all forms of energy healers, but in different modalities.
I think the most common reference that I've heard is like the medicine man, medicine woman of different tribes. And it's like one of the oldest things in the world, actually, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It is a very ancient, very sacred rite of passage.
So is shamanism something that you're born with? Is it in your DNA, or is it something that is learned?
I believe that we all have the capacity, but no, I don't believe that we all are shaman. It is very independent to our soul contract. And what that is just what we decided to do when we came here. Just as we're all not doctors or lawyers, we're all not going to decide to take that journey as a shaman. It is a very challenging path. Most souls would rather not take such an extensive contract at one time because we sign up for multiple lessons in our life, not just one. Traditionally, initiates, which is just somebody who wants to become a shaman, they work with an elder for many years in sacred study before and between receiving these rites of passage. However, I believe that we now stand in a time of quickening. It is a critical juncture of our human history as our world and chaos seemingly abounds everywhere on our planet. I believe the need for shamanic practitioners has risen to the forefront, and every day more and more becoming aware of their purpose because of that. The heavier this planet becomes, the more light that we need.
Could you please explain to us kind of like the lighter side of shamanism, which is like the healing, and the heavier side of shamanism, which is that like heavy energy removal?
Every single person on the planet has what in modern society we've come to coin the term as negative. In Native American practices, they refer to it as heavy. And it sounds a lot nicer to our American ear to say, oh, I think you have some heavy energy, rather than saying you have some negative crap hanging out with you, you know? So every single person has that. I don't care who you are, how long you have practiced, how long you have developed. I dare say even Buddha had it, okay? I could literally get up from here and walk to that door, stub my toe, and I have a negative thought when I went, oh crap, right?
It's like what makes us human.
Absolutely. It's part of who we are. So that little negative thought of, oh crap, is something that shaman can remove. But here, let me run with that for a minute, because what if from that one instance, I then became fearful of stubbing my toe? So I have this constant monkey wheel going on of, oh, be careful, don't stub your toe. Oh, you're going to get hurt again. Remember how bad that hurt last time? And so I'm creating more and more and more of that super heavy energy. And so this takes on an energy all on its own. We have co-created this negative blob of stuff that's just kind of hanging out, not only around our aura, but within our aura. And we are feeding ourselves energetically that heavy energy. So as shamans, we come in and we identify the problem, we counsel that problem, we ensure that they understand how that problem occurred, and we remove that problem.
Excellent, excellent. That's a really good way to look at it. Would you also say that what's known as the ego is also connected with that as well?
Oh, absolutely. Our ego, a lot of people, and I'm telling you, I'm not a very popular person when it comes to this.
No, that's exactly why I wanted to ask you that, because I wanted to get your take on it. Because that ego, and
yeah,
I feel like ego in the mediumship world is so looked at so negatively. And I think that you have a really beautiful perspective on it, and I really like to share that with other people. So thank you. Can you just explain to anybody who is listening that's never even heard the term ego before?
Ego is that little tiny voice. Sometimes it's a loud voice. It is that part of us that tells us, don't do that because you're going to hurt yourself. And it's also that part of us that says, go ahead, get up there, you can do it. So the ego has two coins, right? Everything is a balance. So even the ego has balance. It has positive and negative aspects. The ego is imperative to our development. First off, we've had trauma. I don't care who you are, you've had something happen, even if you were 5 years old and your puppy has passed away. That was a traumatic experience for that 5-year-old. Our ego is the one that says, don't do this. It hurt us emotionally. Don't do things that cause trauma to your emotional body. And over time, as years progress and time goes by, we create more and more of those things. We create a pattern. We begin to follow what that ego is saying. And that ego is absolutely our bodyguard for our emotional security. So why would I tell this awesome bodyguard to sit down and shut up, or take my dog for a walk while I go to do something really cool like practice metaphysics? No, absolutely not. What you want to do is go, okay, ego, get it. I have definitely made risky choices in the past. They may not have fared so well, but I've learned from them.
Yeah, definitely. I actually, when I was younger, I used to sing. Well, I still sing. And I remember getting up in front of this big audience. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old, and I had to sing This Land Is Your Land. And I went up there and I started singing, and then I just started laughing hysterically. And I totally just burned. And now that I'm a medium and I'm doing galleries, my ego's like, oh my God, you're going to get up there in front of all those people and you're going to burn again. So
yeah,
it's protecting me, but at the same time, it's also, scaring the crap out of me. So I don't want to get up there.
Right.
If I can interject, basically what you're saying is, because there is a different theory about the ego, about how people want to get rid of it. But what you're basically saying is, if you can master that ego, you can use it as a tool in your practice and in your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That ego, my ego, tells me, be really careful when you go to walk to your car every night. Okay? But my ego also tells me that I am good enough to sit here right now and share this information with you, that I'm knowledgeable enough to do that. So the ego serves a fabulous purpose if you listen to it, incorporate it, and work with it.
I guess where people would be from a different school of thought than mastering the ego. They want to get rid of it because maybe they think it clouds their intuition. But from what you're saying is you need to have a balance of both ego and intuition.
I would not cut off my right arm simply because I no longer like when it grabbed the bottle incorrectly.
I like that.
Right arm.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
What I need to learn is how I can tell my hand to grab it differently.
So I also wanted to talk to you about the shamanic view of mental illness, because this is what really kind of drew me to shamanism. Not just to understand my own energy and how to balance it as a medium, but I really like the shamanic perspective of this. And I also wanted to ask you how it kind of compared to Western medicine.
Shamanism teaches us that all disease begins when we are living out of harmony with our energy and our environment. When we take an inappropriate impression from our environment through any of our five senses, we are weakening our mind, our body, and our soul when we create that internal environment that supports the creation of disease. So in this environment, bacteria, viruses, and other pathogens thrive. Muscles tense, they alter their function. Our vertebrae starts interfering with our nerve functions. We could say that the energy flow is disrupted in the body just by that. So the ramifications of understanding the cause of disease is numerous and vast. Models can be created both to prevent and treat disease. If energetic disharmony is the cause of the disease, then the recreation of energetic harmony is obviously the cure. And that is what shamanism is all about.
What initially drew you into shamanism?
So I was 18 years old and I had a severe head trauma. I was in a four-wheeler accident. I was clinically dead for over 6 minutes. When I was coming to, whatever phrase you want to use, I saw spirit, heard spirit, I could feel spirit very, very clearly, just as clearly as you are before me right now. And I wanted answers. I had no recollection to the previous 18 years of my life. I had no recollection of who I was or what I was doing or where I was doing it. I had no clue, none. And as I was kind of going down this journey of trying to figure things out, I had a very limited ability because I come from a very long line of ministers. So
I bet you that was difficult.
it was very, very challenging for me. And hardcore, Pentecostal raising. And it was just a completely different take on things, And
absolutely.
on some level, I knew that there was more. I just knew it within my...
But you just didn't know where to find it. So where did you go first? What was the first thing on your metaphysical journey stop?
The very first thing on my metaphysical journey stop was I was driving down the road, and I have driven down this road many, many, many times. And this is, mind you, this is after I had finally went, there's more answers than what is being supplied, okay? And it took great, immense courage for me to do this. And there was this little shop that I had never, ever noticed before. And my car, it's almost like I had this, right? My car just went right there.
Wow.
I went inside, and there was a Native American gentleman there. And I had no idea what a psychic was or what a healer was or what a shaman was. I had no idea. But visually, when I saw this man, he sparkled. He absolutely sparkled. It was something I did not see on any other human ever. And
I've actually experienced that with a monk, but like this monk that I was in a class with. It was like it was exactly what you said, kind of like this glitter around him.
Yeah. And I just knew whatever he had, I wanted.
Yeah.
Give me information, tell me. And I had a healing by him. And he told me, you know, he was a shaman, he was a healer. And then he informed me I was, which I'm like, I don't even know what that is, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. And so began my journey.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I stalked him. I did. I could lie, you know.
But you stalked his energy. And you know what, though? I mean, I think that a lot of us have, maybe not the exact story, obviously, but just that kind of, there's just so many different things that lay in your, when you talked about the car and all of that, it's like it just pointed you in that direction.
It did.
So I wanted to expand. So is this the same mentor that you work with whenever you, whenever you do the rites? Is this the same mentor?
Yeah.
So
this is my mentor.
So this is so with your mentor, I do know that, your mentor had passed and that you kind of channel him essentially as a guide on this journey. And I think that's really beautiful because those teachings that were given to you, that's really why you decided, I guess, to go forward, right?
Very much so. Very, very, very much so.
Yeah, I think it's a beautiful story.
Unequivocally, that I would not be the person I am today had he not came into my awareness. I can say that unequivocally.
So back to, again, what we were talking about earlier with people who are in the paranormal investigation field. When they come across these earthbounds and these heavy energies, it's great that they are able to identify, but what kind of advice would you have for them going forward to kind of help them not only protect their own energy, but help them maybe cross over the soul or maybe learn more about these attachments? What would you say to them?
I would say that I would love to have you as my student. That's what I would say. I know it was very challenging for me when I started out. It was very challenging for me. I didn't know where to begin or what to believe, or there was so much information. I couldn't discern what was good and what wasn't, and which probably led to my doctorate because I just kept taking everything that's under the sun. And I wanted a way to provide that information in an easy, digestible way that kind of took the problem solving out of it, that led like a clear path to what you need to do. So there's a lot of people that are out there that are ready, willing, able to work with spirit. They just don't know where to start. So that was my goal. And I offer to take you right through that process of all the shamanic rites. In level 3, we get into what I lovingly refer to as the heavier energy, the woo-woo energy stuff. Definitely touch on a lot of my demonology training, my occult training, how to clear and get rid of those energies, how to actually do a proper clearing of a home and of people. So yes.
And I've spoken to other shamans, people who, just separately, people who also are shamans. And I don't know if it's as common to incorporate as much that you do. And I actually think that's really beneficial because you really look at all sides to the metaphysical. It's not just the, going in and healing that people often refer to as similar to Reiki. So, in which it's not. It's a much deeper healing. We've talked about that. But I really like that about your course, having taken it myself, especially with the level 3. I had no idea. For me, I actually saw those shadow figures, and I saw like the really creepy faces and those kind of things when I was younger. I was wide
Mm-hmm.
open to all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it helped me piece together different parts of my life and the trauma that I experienced, but also not just the trauma, but the understanding what was actually going on with me. And you really helped me do that. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're absolutely welcome. For me, I think that I wanted a place that people could get really good, viable information. My concern was that there's a lot of information out there that is left to be desired. You know, there's a lot out there. There's some great information out there, but there's also some that isn't so good. And when you start to get confused and you're applying wrong.
Yeah, you can't just Google how to be a shaman, or you can't just Google how to do things, because you're going to get, you know, and then you'll get some good information, but at the same time, you need to actually do the work, I think, and understand. And I think you do a beautiful job of teaching that. So thank you.
Thank you. I was actually kind of, and you know this, I've told you this, but I really drug my feet, or I made it, you know, where other people, I would take on other students. And that's because I do take this very seriously. I really do. And I think what provoked me the most was seeing other people have like $15,000 to do this course to learn the rights. And I'm like, what? That's a ripoff. That is not okay. That is not.
And I do know that is something I've seen also, actually, in this, and that's in all different kinds of field of metaphysical, you know. So Damien actually, I think, is a really good person. Damien, did you want to share your story on how you got into shamanism and what it did for you?
That was actually interesting. You're talking about being guided to something. I think I went into this on our very first episode. And the way that I was guided to Charli was I got this random email that was just like some astrology BS, you know? And my guides, I guess because I'm so like hard-headed, they just actually use written word that, you know? And it said, you will meet a woman who will become your mentor and teach you a lot about life. And I was like, that's so oddly specific, and I didn't know how to take that. I just kind of put it in the back of my mind, you know? And the next week,
I remember you messaging that to me.
Yeah, the next week you're like, it's like, Charli had a dream about you when you're a man, and then you're a boy, and your spirit animal, and you were like, oh, I have a friend named Damien, you know. And then the very next week we had a conversation, and 2 weeks later I was initiated to become a shaman, and then started the 9 craziest weeks of my life, you know. And becoming initiated. But in becoming a shaman, then I look back on my life and I realized that this was always something that was meant to be, and everything in my life was preparing me for it, and all the traumas in my life were preparing me for it. And being more empathetic towards people and compassionate towards people, and having this like deep inside desire where I felt like I wanted to heal people instinctively, but every time I would try, my own traumas always got in the way, you know?
Or you would absorb their trauma.
And I would absorb their traumas and people and places, and everything just gave me these like feelings. And I did have this like outlook on the whole world, of like feeling the pain of the whole world, like, you know. And I was right before I was initiated, I was going through like a dark night of the soul. I actually started out the beginning, it was in the middle of the year. I started out the beginning of the year after this after this year before was like traumatic to me, but I was in this relationship that was meant to bring out all the darkest parts of me, and for a couple of years leading up, I had this thing in the back of my mind that was, I don't like this about me. I don't like that about me. And it's not like insecurities, but things that I've either done or said, or I just had these like thoughts that just kept getting stronger and stronger. And it was like, one day I'm going to do something about this. One day I'm going to do something about that. And then at the beginning of the year, I started this self-reflection. I'm like, how do I become better as a person too, and what does that mean? And it's also being healthy, and it's dealing with things, how I dealt with people in my relationships and stuff. So it's like I started going through this natural shadow work process. And then I didn't realize that there was a very good reason for that. And I believe that people coming to view this today can relate to that, because they will be drawn to see this, and they're going to be drawn to the shamanic path. And that's what led me to Charli. And then I'll tell you what, it was as scary as it was beautiful. And to really clear out your energy and your traumas and be able to physically and mentally and energetically heal people, first you start with yourself. So I had to dig deep inside myself and really pull it all out. And I feel energetically, I feel lighter. I feel so much of a better person. My perspective is so much better. Now, I'm still a human being, so I still have a lot of this back and forth, and I still have my emotion, but overall, I feel like I lived all these traumas in my life because I'm supposed to understand the people that I need to help out in this life who did not sign that soul contract to become a shaman.
That's absolutely. And I feel like, well, all shamans have this internal compass, if you will. And it is just waiting to direct you to where you need to go. I don't publicize. I never have. I don't publicize. And I have students that always come to me. And I believe that that is just the universe lining up that specific energy and goes, oh, that's the person meant for you.
Exactly. Absolutely. And thank you so much, Jamie, for sharing that. I love your story because I feel like it really shows, and it's very relatable, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are like us out there that have these things that they've dealt with. And I feel like it's a good way for them to self-identify and to be able to relate and know that they can also walk that path as well.
Yeah.
So I know that you probably have to get ready to head out, but I just wanted to say thank you so much. If you wanted to tell whoever's listening how they can find you, find more information about you and about your classes.
Thank you so much for having me, number one. And if you would like to learn more about shamanic practices or training, please feel free to reach me at www.theshamanicpaths.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming on today. You are amazing, and Damien and I can both attest to your classes and your teachings, not just for shamanic, but Charli also teaches she teaches a psychic mediumship course. She teaches a crystal healing course. You also have some really exciting things in the work also with, what is it, psychic surgery? I'm just kidding. You can edit it out. I meant to say that. I was like, I don't want to say that or not.
So there's a lot of good stuff in the works. I'm doing oils, herbs, crystals, psychic surgery, self-empowerment. Just launched a deepen your intuitiveness with your chakras. Got some good stuff.
Absolutely. And you're an excellent teacher. I love the information that you give, the background, and you always do it with the utmost respect, not just for people that are taking your classes, but also for the spirit world. I think you have such a great, profound respect for them. And
I do.
That in turn is why we respect and love you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.